Hi everyone, my name is Matt, and today we have 4 categories: theme, YouTuber, model, and surfaces. So for anyone who watched my videos before, I work on SolidWorks, which is a 3D CAD program, CAD being computer-aided design, and I thought it would be a little bit of fun to actually try to put 4 things together and actually make it on SolidWorks. So now I'm going to flip the top card just to see what I'll be modeling on SolidWorks for the video. So first up, it's going to be a theme, which we all know is going to be Thanksgiving. YouTuber is going to be GingerPale. He does animations. I love his videos. And we're going to do some kind of wall art. And for surfaces, I believe this is a lofted surface, so I have to use at least a lofted surface. So for these, anything is fair game no matter what video I choose. I just have to think of a way to look at the video and say, it'll be cool to design something for that wall, and it'll be nice, like maybe a picture frame or a 3D model or something. I have no idea what it's going to be, but this idea is just for me to be creative and see if it will work. So I guess let's get to it. Alright, so I'm starting off with the picture frame, kind of the foundation for making the models. So I have 4 components. We got the picture frame, the ice cream truck or the food truck, we got GingerPale, and the sun. I wanted to model something that I really enjoyed watching from his videos, and one of the first videos I watched was Going Outside featuring Nevercake, or Go Outside featuring Nevercake, and I really liked that video, so I thought doing it in a scene would be a lot of fun. So you can see here I'm making the pedestal kind of where I could put components on top of it for this picture frame. And the things I'm making on now are kind of like the sidewalks where I will also put the houses. So these are reference lines that I'm putting on right now. So I never actually made everything all at once. What I mean by that is I made the ice cream truck kind of like the body of it, and I made the picture frame around the same time just so I know where it kind of fits together. So the furthest center line is the reference point for when that shot ends, and hopefully I remember to put a picture of it in the beginning so you see the picture I'm trying to make. This is my 3rd time making this model, mainly because the first time was just me figuring out, trying different things. Second time was when I sketch out in like a notepad or put it on like Word document on all my dimensions so that I could do a fluid time lapse of it. And at first I wanted to do the time lapse in a way of being able to talk as I go, so I'm using OBS Studio, and what that allows me to do is capture my screen, and I was shooting it at 30 frames per second because that's how much frames per second my phone takes for the beginning of the video. So after I did 30 frames per second, what I wanted to do was speed it up, but it looked really choppy, speeding it 5 times, 10 times X. So instead I put it back to 3 frames per second, how I do all my time lapses, and do DaVinci Resolve. I'm able to get that up to speed 10 times faster since everything in this file is 30 frames per second. And I took a week or 2 weeks to actually make this again, mainly because a lot of these dimensions are really small and it can be kind of a pain of making it all. You also notice that I also have the sketch always shown, just because I think it's good practice to be able to sketch using reference points as sketches rather than using the edges or other place. I think it's more stable. If I want to change anything, it's a lot easier than doing those edges. So you see I'm just making the houses right now, and if you notice on the bottom right of my screen, you see the date and time. I like having timestamps just so I know when I made it. Like even now, right now, I'm making this voiceover over this time lapse on January 7th, and hopefully gonna edit this. Well, not really edit much, all I have to do is just add the voiceover. And for the last part of the video, I'm gonna try to do the assembly in live view, which I'll probably do tomorrow. You see I'm just making the garage over here, trying to make it look good. I chose a wooden picture frame just because they look nice, and the dimensions of the frame is the same as like a frame you get from track and field or sport, whatever it is. I used a ruler, and actually I have a frame from when I was in track and field in high school, so I look up the website and look at dimensions, and that was my baseline for it. So I've been doing a lot of thin lines just because I didn't want to make a lot of those like boss extrudes when we actually use extruded thin lines. A lot of it, I also made it so that it's not merged into the body, mainly because you're gonna see soon is where I made a pattern of the house. Since there was some extra space, I decided to do a linear pattern and add another house to the other side of the picture frame. And the easy way to do that was to have everything non-merging, just because I could select the bodies rather than selecting the pieces. To me, it was easier. There might be a better way, but this is the way that I've done it. Now I'm just making the fences and just doing the final touches. So funny thing over here, sometimes my notes aren't that great, and I never have it so I can see all the relations of each line and each point. So you see over here, I'm trying to think about, it kind of looks weird in the picture that I have in front of me and then the picture I have in there. So I'm like trying to see, where did I actually put that point? And you're gonna see me fiddle around this for like a while, trying to find out that I use this point as relation, that I use that point as relation. And that's just my problem of not taking good enough notes. But this is just like probably one of the only things that I had trouble on looking at my notes. So you can see that I'm moving on it, and I did have to look at the model I did previously after this video to see where did I make that relation, and it was to the door. So now I'm doing that linear pattern I was talking about before, just because we had a lot of extra space. And this right here is for the sun. I wanted to have it so I could just put it on there. I like to have different pieces coming together. I think it looks pretty cool. And now I'm just merging things together, putting color in now. You can see these are red. You look at the video, I had a picture of a Thanksgiving turkey, just because I wanted to do Thanksgiving theme, because that's when I decided. I made custom playing cards in November. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it. It's Thanksgiving theme, it's the closest thing. And then a few weeks passed and I finally finished what I wanted to model. And then became practically Christmas at this time. So I was like, okay, let me make a Christmas theme instead. So now we're in the part where I'm making the ice cream truck, but I thought it'd be fun if you watched the previous video, and I'm probably gonna show an assembly, is actually a food truck. Because I thought it would be kind of funny or kind of interesting. Maybe they do have this, where it's a food truck just in case you had a long day, you've got to get groceries for whatever reason for Christmas Day and you're missing something. Imagine a food truck just coming by the neighborhood selling goods that you can use for Christmas, like holiday ham, gingerbread houses, cookies, whatever it is for Christmas. And I didn't figure out I wanted to do that until after I made this model. So I made this model, like I said, at the same time as I made the picture frame, just so I know the dimensions of it. And from there, I made the reference lines. So like, okay, these houses has to be pertaining to this, so everything can be well thought out or as precisely in the video as I could. And that took some time doing all the dimensions and stuff. Especially, and I wanted to do these two things first because it took the most time, and I wanted to record this first to get it out of the way. And after this is going to be GingerPale, and then it's going to be the sun. I thought the video was great. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's the video that I learned about GingerPale, and from there I just watched it with my cousins, and then my cousin showed us that video, and he was like, oh, might as well watch more videos, all the videos he had at the time, and it was a lot of fun. So over here, for dimensions, sometimes I change or I would sketch on the wrong face because I take bad notes. So then I would just change the plane real quick, and then making sure I always define these things. Another tip, if you want to make another plane, like from a front plane using a reference, or a top plane, you just want to offset it, you could press the control key or hold the control key, click your left mouse button, and then drag it, and then that will create a new plane for you. Also like the offset feature, just because if you have something, instead of making the same box again, you just highlight the lines, offset it to wherever you want, and you can change it right there and then. Like you want to do 0.2 inches, 0.1 inches. I always thought it would be cool to actually make something that you can print out, But the thing is though, a lot of these aren't really, you can't really print it out, mainly because the dimensions are so small. I don't think a 3D printer can make it. So there was me just changing out the plane again. Another thing, in the introduction, I had a challenge where I had to use a surface tool, and I did that by making this ice cream truck or this food truck. And I did it a couple times. I used quite a few surfacing techniques: surface fill, surface loft, offset surface, a lot of these throughout the models, just because it made a lot of sense. This is another thing that was tedious. I was making these lines, and at some point I was like, it looks like it's straight enough, so I'm just going to do a straight line relation instead. And each one is using the split line feature just so it has that, just so you could split up the faces. I try to not use split lines that often, mainly because it takes a lot of processing power and it takes a long time to rebuild if you have a lot of split lines. I remember when I first learned about split lines, the first few weeks I started using SolidWorks, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I remember Future Matt put on this model that had all split lines. I made a Pokemon card because that would be fun and use all split lines, and it takes like a minute to rebuild. And that's when I learned split lines aren't the best thing. Same for splines. If you notice, I use a spline on the face to get like that curve effect that I did a few seconds ago. This time lapse is going really fast, and it was the best way I could do it in order to make that shape. I don't like using splines that much either. Again, that was something that I actually really like using splines. I made chess pieces with them, but it wasn't the best just because you can't really define it as well compared to other features. So I tried to use splines and split lines as least as possible, but that was the only way I could think of it. So now you can see I put the colors in, and I could just mirror it, and then the colors will come back on. And then you see sometimes it's gonna change up the sequences depending on when I change the model. And now for this, I'm just merging them together just so I can able to sketch and kind of make windows for these. But again, by doing different features, adding new stuff, I kind of lose the colors that I put on. So I have to redo it, put it all again, which isn't bad. I also made swatches. With the color swatches, I made my own category called just Christmas colors, just so I know those are the colors I want to use, so it's easy to reference. You can create your own swatches too, but you can't save it onto the SolidWorks file, that the default that they give you when you try to save it. It kind of just deletes it when you leave. So you have to make your own file on your desktop or wherever it is, and save it. Make sure the file location is set so that it uses that folder too, and then you can add your own color swatches, your own themes. And here we are at making the pictures so that it becomes more Christmas themed, so food that you can get. Yeah, macaroni and cheese, gingerbread houses, and I thought it was funny that he put ice cream that was a picture of his character. And it's funny how, like, when you watch the video, I'll put a link down below. You watch the video, he's like trying to give money to the ice cream truck, and then he sees the ice cream with his face on it. He's like, I don't really want that. So here I have cookies, and I like to align it. Sometimes I change things midway just because, like, I think this looks nicer at the moment. Holiday ham. I never had holiday ham, but I feel like that's something that probably a bunch of people do. And yeah, that's the Christmas themed food truck. I really liked it. I thought it came out great. Now we're making a ginger pale. It took me a while to think about how I was gonna make it. So I'm doing lofts, some fillets. Usually I like fillets to be at the bottom of the design tree, mainly because if I change anything, it's easy to go down and change the fillet too. So I kind of break a lot of rules that I wouldn't really do on a normal basis, but it was the best that I could come up with, and I didn't see anything around it. Maybe in the future I'm gonna look back on this and be like, I could have done something else, but as of right now, that was the best choice. So I'm trying to make the patch right now, and I decided to use offset surface for this. I actually split line and done offset surface. I didn't add the stitches just because I've been working on it for a while, I know a few weeks, close to a month, and I was like, this is, in my opinion, good enough. Which maybe I should add a patch now that I think about it. But it is what it is. So over here, I'm making the planes because I'm going to do a loft and use some lines to make the loft go in the direction I want. So this is the body of GingerPale. And the face is like a surprise face because this is the scene where he's talking about how vitamin D is made based on when the sun interacts with your skin. And like he's like going through all like the science and stuff, and the sun gets really bored, he just blasts him with vitamin D, and then he just looks at the sky and he's like, oh no, and he gets demolished by the woods. And I thought it was pretty funny, so that's the why I chose the face that I did for GingerPale. And now it's time to make the feet of GingerPale. I'm pretty sure I watched the video maybe close to 30 or 50 times, and like pausing each time just so I kind of get a sense of what I'm making and the direction I want to take with picture frame, which isn't much, right? I mean, it's just recreating a scene. But I just thought it'd be cool to be able to hang something up and be putting pieces on top of it. I thought it was like a fun little thing. Well, a fun thing that took a lot of time to plan, a lot of time to model, and then trying to put it on a video. It took a bit. Usually I just make stuff for the fun of it and I show my friends like in a picture. But having this, I could talk about it and what's been going on. So I'm making the arms. So I only did one arm and one leg just so I could mirror it later on. At this time, I'm just still wondering why there was that line on this chest going straight down. And so you can see here, I'm just trying to change it because I didn't have this problem when I was doing it before. And I was really confused of why is that line there, because it kind of ruined all my features. I had to like change, I had to merge them together, stitch it up, and then do a surface loft, do everything I want to get the design I want. And I just kept trying over and over again, like maybe it's the spline tool that I'm doing wrong. Because I used a 3D spline which sketch on surface, and that was something that I normally don't really do ever either because I never needed to. So I was like, maybe that's the reason. And now I'm just putting the colors because it's going to be Christmas themed. But I figured out the reason for this, the reason why I had that line in the chest, was because of the order of my loft. I went to SolidWorks World last year, and one of them they said was changing the order of the loft so it could work, but things already upgraded to the newer version, so it didn't have that problem anymore. So I'm like, oh, maybe that's the reason. So because I'm using 2018 version, so I switched it and it worked perfectly fine. So now we have the sun. This one was easier to make because only a couple features. Just the eyes, the mouth, and then just the points of the sun. You're gonna see me use things as reference points, and I'm sketching on it. And again, none of these are defined, which I kind of like things being fully defined, but this was what I had at the time, and I was like, this is the best I can do. So you see that I made a little mistake, change it again, and all of that, and then I fused them all together, and all that's left is add some fillets, some chamfer, and then some colors, and that's the sun. So yeah, I'm gonna go to assembly after this and go through in real time of me making it. Okay, so I have the assembly file open, and I'm gonna do making an assembly in real time. So I hold control and use tab. I could cycle through the documents that I have open. So for instance, if I want to go to a file, if I let go, it will show up on that and then becomes the most recent one. So now that one becomes first. You can also just hold control and just click it, and you can choose whatever file you want. So I'm going to start making assembly. Go and use the frame. Until I've said, I'm just going to put the check mark. So there's going to be 3 more components. The sun's going to go here, ice cream truck, and in GingerPale. I want to open this up real quick though, just so you can see what I mean with the reference lines for Sketch. So I'm going to show the reference lines over here, because that's basically the scene I'm recreating. I'm going to add the ice cream truck over here. And all I'm going to do is just go down, click on this face, hold control, click on this face, let go, and I get this little toolbar over here, so I can make it coincident. And now that face is always going to be touching the face of this. So this is what I did in the beginning, where I made the body first and then use this as a reference point. So I would move this over here, leaves right about there, and then this is the whole shot. Yeah, so you can see the food truck over here, the different kind of foods they could have that people usually have for not Thanksgiving, for Christmas. Gonna add the sun. So that's the reason for this over here, because now look at the back here. I can make two mates to this. So I'm gonna make this concentric, and then now it's concentric. I can move around. Also want to make it coincident to this face. So you can move this around. I had a reference line of the circle over around here just so I can line up with the sketches, but I don't think I really need to do that. All that's left is to add GingerPale. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna put it on the side here. Click on his foot face, the face of his foot, and then make this coincident. I could just move him over here. So if you look, I'm using Control 1 just to go to front view. Just put him anywhere I want. I got multiple GingerPales too. If you hold Control and then left click drag, you just have multiples of them. Yeah, some of these. I think first time I made this, I had a line of GingerPale on it, because I thought it would be kind of funny them lining up for a food truck. I'm just using Control Z just to take away these GingerPales. And that's pretty much the assembly. So, got a picture frame, the sun, ice cream truck, and GingerPale. I'm gonna show a couple more things. So what I like to do is see how it'll look when it's rendered. So if you go over here, if you right click, you can see that there's SolidWorks add-in, SolidWorks MBD. I'm gonna go with SolidWorks add-ins, and this is Photo View 360, which can render the image. So that when that loads up, you have render tools, and I like to position it kind of so I see at a different angle, and I could do a final render of it. You could do a camera or turn on perspective view. I'm just going to continue without those. And what this does is it kind of pulls the file and shows you what it would look like, I guess, in real life if you had it, the colors and everything polished and whatnot. So this is the preview window. You can also preview it. I didn't find a render, so another window should pop up. And now SolidWorks goes through each frame, and it will show you what it is. So you can see this little thing just going around, rendering the video. It also makes a noise when it finishes. So now it's done, you can zoom in and then look at it of how it looks, and I just thought it was pretty cool. I'm gonna show one more thing that I used for the video, or from the previous video. I like doing a motion study and there's motion study tab over here. What I like to do is do just a simple 360 view. So you can rotate the model, you can also delete all existing paths in case you don't want anything else. Y-axis, and you see this rotating, you can do it clockwise or counterclockwise. I always do counterclockwise for some reason, I don't know why. And number of rotations, 1. I like to start the duration of the animation at 2. At 2 over here, and then you can put it as 10 seconds, maybe do 6 seconds, just so it's like a little bit shorter for this video. I like to just give people their eyes to adjust to it before you see the video. So finish that, and then you see this toolbar over here. Kind of, there's a little space, a pause over here, and then it rotates. So you can see it rotates in 360. The thing is though, wherever you position it, that's where it's going to start from. So for instance, if I go for, or like I rotate it here and I start it again, it will remember what you chose previously. So what I like to do is hit Control 1, kind of hide this, and then press the F key to fix it over here. And then that's when I like to go to animation wizard, delete the existing path. I don't want this path anymore. Hit next, counterclockwise, put this 2 seconds, put this 6, and then finish. Oh, damn, I missed something up. Try again. Delete this thing. Counterclockwise. I want to start this at 2. Make this 6. Finish that. And now if I rotate it here, if I play it, it'll go back to the front face, or the front face, and you just rotate it over here. And you can also render it in Photo 360. As long as you have these render tools here, when you go to save animation, you can save it as AVI file, SolidWorks screen, and then you could change the aspect ratio to 1920 by 1080, just because that's the most common. And then you can choose how many ever frames per second you want. The more frames it is, the more time it takes. If you do photo view 360, it takes a longer time. So you were to save this, I'm not going to do it, but just showing everything. You go here, you can do Microsoft Video 1, take out this, and then compress the quality, and then render it, which could take a long time if you're using Photo 360. But yeah, that's all I wanted to show for this video. I know this video is going to be pretty long, so I'm just going to save this. So whoever have watched to the end, or even just skipped over to this part, thank you for watching, I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. For the next video, someone commented on a hip implant I made almost a year ago, on saying I should do a knee implant, so I'm going to work on that video next. Hopefully I get it done by the end of this month. I have no idea, mainly because I'll set deadlines and then I'm kind of always late. So I'll do my best to try to model a knee implant next, go over how to make it. And yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to do a video like this again. This took a while, I'm not sure. Well, I could probably still do it again. It was pretty fun seeing everything come together. But it won't be for like another month or 2 before I start a new one. So thanks for watching, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.